to Mr. Kenny Pickett and these Pittsburgh Steelers. What are they going to do this year? Kenny was very inconsistent, but hey, he showed promise. Mike Tomlin, hell of a coach. He does what he does. I do expect Najee Harris to come out there and ball out. Pat Freiermuth, he's still in his development, but I do expect a better year from him. Cameron Hayward coming over. Listen, there's so much potential, so much talent with these Steelers. Well, what's going to happen? Well, last season, Mr. Kenny Pickett had 2,404 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, finished with a 51.5 for the QBR. Getting into, what is it here, the last 5? Yeah, the last 5. It looked like, for the most part, I mean, he was very, like I said, hit or miss. In the last 5 attempts and completions, 34 for 52, 11 for 18, 10 for 13. You know, this is one of the things as far as what you don't want to see as far as your star quarterback. You want them to be consistent. You want them to have a run game now because this is a running league for quarterbacks. We do see the one game where he had 51 yards, 37 yards, and obviously these were 2 games where you had the defenses of the Saints and the Eagles. But when you look at these other games where they took big losses, you're not going to see much running. 20 yards, 16, 10, 15. You're going to need more than that this year, I think, from Mr. Kenny Pickett. Obviously, he's, Tomlin is thinking that he can be a pocket passer. It's a little different from what it used to be, and I think Tomlin is so used to Ben Roethlisberger being back there, he's trying to basically fit Kenny Pickett into that scheme, into that narrative. Let the kid run more. Throw off the run if he needs to. And then obviously, cycle between Najee Harris and company. But shout out to you, Sheila. The defense is going to play a big part too. One of the biggest problems was the points allowed by the Steelers last year. And they're going to have to do some fine-tuning on that as well. Shout out to Sheila, says, I don't know why, but I like this Pickett dude. And that's one of the things. When he first started in the league, I was hesitant. There was whether or not Trubisky was going to step up and then whether or not Mason Rudolph was going to be good. Now you have Trubisky behind Kenny, and then you have Mason behind Trubisky. So whether or not Kenny actually comes out and balls and does what he's supposed to do, I mean, he's got the team on his shoulders right now. Shout out to Gemini Don, says Peyton was right about the previous coach was horrible, but was wrong about the Jets. They didn't want hard knocks. Peyton better worry about the team. He's chasing the Chiefs. Listen, we'll veer off for a second before we finish up and get to the depth chart for the Steelers. But listen, we can't write off the Denver Broncos when they played the Chiefs. You guys seen what happened. There was a couple games where people thought the Chiefs were going to lose against those Broncos. In fact, those were probably the best games that Denver actually played, which is absolutely wild because it was against the Chiefs. Wasn't it the second game they played, Chiefs won in OT? It's a 3-point game? I could be wrong about the score, but it was close, and they won in OT. So, I mean, that just goes to show that there was some kind of figure out as far as not only defense, but offense, and the Chiefs had an issue with those Broncos. So maybe we'll see the same thing this year. Maybe the Broncos will win, and then that'll be absolutely crazy. We'll all be sitting here dumbfounded because Peyton actually did something right and beat those Chiefs. And we see, like, Mahomes walking off the field, Shout out to Tennessee Tactical, says division games are tough regardless. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know how divisions go. Okay. So getting into the Pittsburgh Steelers depth chart. Obviously, your starting quarterback is going to be Kenny Pickett. Running back, Najee Harris. Wide receiver, Deontay Johnson. Wide receiver, George Pickens. I like that combination, that Pickens. Say that 20 times fast. Pickett-Pickens combination. Allen Robinson the second. Pat Freiermuth. Monte Potbomb. Broderick Jones. Isaac Sumalo, Mason Cole, James Daniels, and Chukwama Okafor is your right tackle. And then as far as the defense, you've got Larry Ogunjobi, Keanu Benton, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt. What's he going to do this year? Right? This man loves to play. He's a beast. He's great. What is he going to do this year? Cole Holcomb, Landon Roberts, Alex Highsmith, Patrick Peterson, DeMonte Casey, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter. Listen, you hear these names? Cameron Hayward, Ogunjobi, Highsmith, Peterson, Fitzpatrick. Steelers, get it together. You have some of the greatest players in the NFL. Shout out to Rodney. He says, man, I don't know. I'm with you, Jay. Think it's going to be an interesting season. Listen, there's so much that goes into having the right defense, and I feel like the Steelers definitely have one of the most slept on right now. Obviously, the offense is what's going to be the most important thing, and that's going to, have to be figured out as we start week 1 into September. But I do think that the time that Mr. Pickett has had has not only helped him develop, but has given him more confidence. And I think that's the biggest thing that he lacked last year, was the confidence and actually being able to go out on that field, take over a game, and win. So, yeah. As far as the special teams, Chris Bow, Presley Harvin III, Gunnar Olszewski, there we go, and Christian Kuntz for your long snapper. All right, so let's get into the schedule. Strong start. Obviously, week 1, you've got the 49ers. Week 2 is going to be a Monday night football game against the Browns. Week 3, the Raiders. Week 4, Texans, followed up by the Ravens. Bye week is week 6. They'll get into the Rams, the Jaguars, Titans, Green Bay, Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, Arizona Cardinals. Week 14 is going to be the Patriots. Week 15 is going to be the Colts. Week 16 is going to be the Bengals. Week 17, Seahawks. Week 18, Baltimore. Preseason is going to be Tampa Bay, the Bills, and they'll finish up before the season starts, Atlanta. Now, let's see here. Okay. As far as my thoughts on this schedule, this is not going to be easy. In fact, this is probably one of the most roller coaster schedules we've seen so far. Most of the schedules we've talked about, it starts off a little easy and then it gets really tough towards the end. Or, there's a couple, tough games that we know about within the first 5, but then, it gets real crazy at the end. This is, you start off against the 49ers, you're probably going to take that L. And then you go against the Browns on Monday night. This is going to be a hell of a game. I feel like this is an evenly matched game against the Browns. I'm not a big fan of the Raiders right now as far as what they've got going on and their talent. We already discussed that. Another even game for me. I think they'll beat the Texans. Baltimore's going to be very tough. Then you head into that bye. Then you've got Matt Stafford and company. For me, this is probably a Rams taking this game. Jaguars probably going to take this one. Titans, once again, I think it's going to be even. Green Bay, probably going to be even. This is really tough to predict because obviously the level of talent on both sides of the field and whether or not Kenny Pickett and company are actually ready to go out and play. Then obviously you have the Browns again. Then you got the Bengals. Cardinals, I'll give them that. I'm not really feeling the Patriots, but probably going to be an even game. I'll give them the Colts. They'll play the Bengals again, and then the Seahawks, and then Baltimore. This is not looking good for these Steelers right now. So, yeah, I'm going to say this. We'll obviously recap week 1 once we see how well Kenny's playing, whether or not the defense is clicking, and if they can put on a show against these 49ers. But other than that, I would be very surprised if these Steelers do end up with a winning record.